Good evening, everybody. I
Good
see
evening.
we're joined by some blinds here. They look really intriguing.
Well,
It's-
Linda and I are in the middle of a thunderstorm here in Lancaster County, so I think that's doing some interesting stuff for both of us.
oh, yeah? What's happening?
I don't know, everything just got really. We've had a lot of lightning and thunder. I said even if the power goes out, I'm on my
Yeah.
cell phone, so I have that. But
Yeah, and my battery is full, so I'm good.
Oh, you're good?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy you guys are here. For those who don't know, Linda was Amish until she was 28, and Chris was raised in more like kind of half and half different Anabaptist churches like Weaverland, Charity, etc. I don't know how to explain it properly, so I'm just gonna stop before I open mouth, insert foot. I'll let Chris explain that. How about that?
all right, my mom's side started out as Eastern Pennsylvania Mennonite, and then my grandfather went from there to start I think it's called Hope or Hopewell Conference. I'm not exactly sure. He started Muddy Creek Church, Muddy Creek Mennonite, where he was a preacher for a while. And some of my family stayed Eastern, and then he went to Charity, which I know Linda has some experience in too, and so did a lot of my aunts. And
Okay.
and then on my dad's side, that's Weaverland Conference, which is what a lot of people know as Black Bumpers.
Oh, the black baby buggy bumpers. Oops. Say that real fast 3 times in a row. Bitch, you can't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can.
No, Linda
No.
can.
Nope, I cannot. Nope.
No,
I'm not
Okay.
even going to try.
So, how many years have you been out, like the both of you? How many years have you been non-affiliated at all with any plain churches or Amish churches?
For me, completely out since 2013.
For me, completely out at 2008. So around, let's see, 13 years now.
Okay. Oh my.
hmm
Oh my.
It's been quite a journey.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it would be fun to kind of talk about how, for me, I've been out since 2004. So that's 17 years.
4 years before me.
Yep. And I think there's when you start talking about different things, like when you leave, there's kind of a culture shock that happens.
Yeah,
But then
most
it's kind of
definitely.
you can often learn different ways that help you navigate the new world. And so I think that it's important to kind of talk about some of the most significant ones. And so I wanted to start off by talking about one of my very first experiences, because I didn't grow up in a house with a microwave.
Oh, okay. This is going to be interesting.
So I thought I would use that as an example. So I didn't grow up in a house with a microwave. So I get out and I'm living in this house and there's electricity. There's an electric stove. There's there's a microwave, folks. There was a microwave and a computer. Oh my God, I had to learn everything about the computer. That was me. And then one time I went to warm up something. I still don't remember what it was. I went to warm up something in the microwave. And do you know that I had the bright and brilliant idea that I was going to put foil in the microwave? And
Oh, no.
if only we had Garth Brooks, The Thunder Rolls, and the
Mm-hmm.
lightning crashed. That was it. That was it.
Wow.
Never did that again.
That works if you put a fork in the microwave too. I accidentally did that once.
I'm not alone.
No. Well, what about a dishwasher?
I
Oh my
still
gosh.
haven't. I still don't have one.
When we
Can you
moved
believe?
here to this apartment, there's a dishwasher. And I
No.
had to figure out how to make this dishwasher go and what buttons I had to press and everything. I mean, this dishwasher, oh my word. And if you
Oh,
press the start button too long or something, it makes a timer or something. I don't know. I still don't have the dishwasher completely figured out.
well, can we just talk for a second about how, like, there may have been this one time that I accidentally may have put, like, the wrong kind of soap in the dishwasher. Something happened and it
You
just
were trying to have a bubble
Oh,
wave.
we had a bubble bath for the dishes.
oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh
See,
my.
Linda, you're not missing out much.
Well, some days I wish for it, but for the most part, with some like 5 kids and me, we can wash the dishes.
You
Like seriously.
you can wash the dishes.
I think
I'm
sometimes that's easier than the dishwasher.
Why do you think that?
Because, I mean, it's simple to wash the dishes. Whereas the dishwasher, I gotta put this in and put that in and then figure out which buttons I have to press to make it do what it's supposed to do.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
I've worked with one. I don't think I would really have a problem because to me it's kind of like a washer and dryer. I mean, they have all kinds of buttons too.
Oh
I don't
my.
know. I have a simple washer and dryer too.
Don't
when
tell me you still wash like we used to.
no, I have a washer
Oh,
and dryer, but it's not a fancy one. It has like a dial I turn and I press the start button.
oh, okay. You have one of the older kind. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. I had one like that for a long time. Those are very simple.
It
they they
works.
they work well for
I
people
mean,
that
they're
are old.
modern towards what we were used to. If you really think about it, pouring gasoline in the engine and then cranking the engine. I don't know how you wash your clothes, Chris, but I'm just like now thinking about it. It took me all afternoon to wash a family of 10 clothes.
Well, I just remember the competition to see who would get their washout first.
Hey, where
Oh,
were where were
and how early they get up, right?
Yes!
Oh my goodness.
Grandma had to be starting to hang her washout by 8 o'clock in the morning, or else it just wasn't chite if it wasn't starting to go out by 8 o'clock in the morning to hang up.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because everybody was watching.
Vill du washa specifal?
Ja, right, right. Mary, du kannst nicht halt Deutsch schwätzen mir. I mean, the accent, it doesn't sound right.
Du machst nicht richtig.
Mm-mm.
Well, I think
Oh,
it's because Mary's not in this area. Like, there's a
Yeah.
certain
we
type
don't
of Dutchified around here.
no,
Right. Even
we
the
don't
English.
we don't
Yeah.
speak so like y'all speak a different dialect. Like we can understand each other mostly, but like y'all speak a different dialect. Like
Mm-hmm.
what we spoke was more like the Midwestern. Like I left from the Midwestern
Oh,
community.
that's right. You were in
Yeah.
Western Pennsylvania.
And then I moved to Wisconsin
And
and
you didn't speak the regular Pennsylvania Dutch in Lancaster County.
nee, sie schwätzen nicht wie die denn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, we should probably translate that. How do we translate all of that?
I
You don't talk
dear.
like we talk.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like we have different dialects in different communities. Like for example, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, they may not speak the same dialect as what they do in Cashton, Wisconsin. And so we
Right.
were just poking
Ich
at each
kann dich
other.
verstehen.
We can understand each other, but we were poking at each other because we don't use the same dialect. Yeah.
Well, even with Chris being from the Mennonite background, it's different. Don't you
Right.
think, Chris?
Yeah. I think, like, what we spoke growing up, we spoke Pennsylvania Dutch, but then with some English mixed in.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so I still have a problem sometimes. I'll be like a certain word, and then I'll be like, well, is that Dutch or English?
Right, because you
And
mixed it up so much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
well, and
Whereas
then
for me, I have a hard time switching from one to the other. Like if I'm speaking English, I can speak English, but to switch to Dutch and mix it up, it doesn't go very well.
And see, I can just go back and forth,
Mhm.
and like when we were at that thing, I would
Mhm.
sometimes have a hard time thinking about whether they were saying something in English at the time or Dutch at the time because it just all flowed the same through my head.
Right.
yeah. Well, and I have a hard time sometimes finding the English words for stuff.
Like Freundschaft.
Yeah.
That's a big one for me. I still use the word Freundschaft all the time. Like, oh, my Freundschaft. And then it's like, well, what do I want to translate that into English? Because
You're and when you say friendship, that's not it.
No,
Friendship
it would be
means like
more
your
relatives, right?
relative.
relatives, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like your relatives,
Oh,
your
Linda,
ancestors, your.
es så schlimm var det då här. It's gonna get bad, folks. We've got the accents going.
Yep.
But sometimes, like, for me, a big one can be like just as simple as like a screwdriver, or I think the other one is called a spatula.
Oh yeah,
Shavely.
that one's hard for me.
Shavely.
That and a plate scraper. We always call it a plate scraper, but you don't actually use that in the English vocabulary.
No, no,
Mm-hmm.
That's weird because it's actually English words. It's two English words put together. Plate scraper. But you don't say that.
no, you don't. Yeah, no, it's not a plate scraper. It's something else. I don't know what it's called, but yeah. So that's a big one. And then I think another big change is being allowed to um, listen to music that I like. How do you guys feel about music?
I mean, I listen to some music, and I know, like in the car, I'll have the radio on,
Mm-hmm.
but I've noticed like my kids listen to a lot more music than I do.
Right.
It's
Right. Mm-hmm. Same.
I like music, but if it's not on, it's no different to me. Whereas Roman will be listening to music like all the time. And that's my oldest. He'll be doing stuff. He always has his Spotify on, listening to all sorts of stuff. And I only this year learned how to connect my Spotify to my car.
Oh my.
So now
I
I
feel like
can broadcast music in my car with Spotify, but
Oh my.
it was this year that I learned.
that's awful. I mean,
Yeah.
at least you learn now, but I get it. I totally get it. I'm thinking it was just last year that I even learned about Spotify. Like I kind of knew of it,
How have you
but
not heard of Spot?
well, I knew of it. I just wasn't. I use Amazon Music all the time until my kids finally got me switched over, and I would
Oh,
never go
gotcha.
back to Amazon Music. Like,
No, Spotify has really good music quality if you
and you
like.
can listen to podcasts and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like everything's on there.
Everything. The Scathing Atheist.
Ah,
Yep.
Yep. All kinds of stuff. Hey, the Misfit Amish is on there too if y'all are interested.
right.
Yep.
I'm just saying. Hey, we have somebody talking about it, Drake Shavli.
Mm.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you for that. That's a really good point. That's also a big change because, like, you don't ask for a dirt shovel and people know what you mean because if you translate it,
Exactly.
see, part of the problem is when you translate it word for word, it doesn't mean the right thing. Like, if you ask for a dirt shovel, I'm gonna do that to my family. Watch.
Right, and they'll bring you an actual shovel to go
Like
out and dig
a
dirt.
little spade or something.
Yeah. Watch. I'm gonna get a real shovel out of this. Oh wait, they might be listening. Oops.
Well, then they know. But that's like I still say biscuits whenever we smell one. I'm like, oh,
Oh
there's
my
a
goodness, I
biscuit.
Okay.
totally
Now
forgot about that one.
he's talking about a skunk. A
Yep,
biscuit
a
is a skunk.
biscuits.
Hmm. Yes, I still say biscuits too.
It
Biscuit.
sounds nicer than skunk. It sounds
I
more
don't know how the
accurate.
two correlate here. Biscuits, skunk. It's like this massive, vast chasm between the two. Um, I think it makes a big. I think maybe for me, like language and learning how to like properly use the English language better, that was a big deal. That was a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
progress.
But living
Uh,
in this area, we still have a road that has a sign in English and Dutch.
What?
Katzenbugelweg.
Katzenbuckelweg. That means
Yeah,
short back way.
in Farmersville, Cat's Back Road,
Oh,
Katzenbugelweg.
Cots. Sorry.
Yeah,
So it's
Katzenbugelweg.
cat
Hmm.
back road. Why do we have a
Yeah, it's
cat
in
back road?
Farmersville.
Why?
It looks like a if you look at it like what's that word topographically, it kind of looks like a cat like when they
Oh, like the
arch
top
up
of
to
a
like
cat, like
yeah,
when the
if
cat.
they're like arched up like they're gonna
Yeah.
hiss at you or something.
Wow. That's just crazy.
So yeah,
What?
you drive over there, you see the sign in English and Dutch.
Wow. Maybe I should come visit you for real, just
I
so I
say
can go
that
there.
you
What?
can you can pose in front of covered bridges too.
Oh, I don't care so much about that. Ich geb nichts drum.
Oh my.
No, that's not my thing. But you know what else? I gotta say this, like TV. Okay, like I don't know if y'all have always lived in your own homes because you were maybe older, but like I lived with people a couple of times that like they would always have the TV on, and it was really disconcerting.
It does bother me. You're talking about like at night, how people let their
Yeah,
tea, or even during the day, like
it's
at
like it makes my head hurt.
mm-hmm. Like
I-
in our house, everybody we don't have TV or anything on. Everybody wears ear headphones. Whatever they watch, they unless we're watching a family movie.
Well, I thought maybe it's a neurodivergent thing, but maybe it's a plain thing. You know, too
Yeah.
much going on all around.
Yep.
Kind of.
It's too much
Um,
noise for me. I can't take it.
So I don't
I
know if it's a
just
neurodivergent thing or a plain thing.
I have no idea. That's a really interesting
Well,
question.
that and like even now, like when Walmart used to have the TVs up and with the like the program the movies on,
Yeah.
you know, the plain people will be going by and get distracted and stop and start watching the movie because you know.
Because it was really something
Yeah.
to see.
Well,
I remember when I first started watching movies. I mean, that was just really like that was my world for a while.
see, I used to be with somebody that was like their whole idea of like a date was like just watching a movie. And that
Um,
was just inconceivable for me. It's like this thing of like, how do you like, I just don't get it. I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
because of how we dated. Did you date when you were Amish? Like, do
Did you
you?
have a
In
parlor?
other news,
Did you guys have parlors? Like
Yeah. Well, I
yeah.
did. I don't know about
Yeah.
Mary, but yeah, we had this extra like this room we would go in. We wouldn't
Yup.
associate with the rest of the family. We weren't allowed
Oh
to.
no, you'd be in the parlor.
Yep. Playing games. talking.
Do English know what we mean by a parlor? Like
the guest room, kind of like it's the. I would call it the guest room. I didn't even know you
I
call
mean,
it the
it was
parlor.
like well that's what my grandparents
Hey,
called it.
y'all.
There was
We
a
were
parlor for us.
we were the one true Amish. Let me tell you about the one true Amish, okay?
Did you bundle?
We didn't in the community I live in. Okay, so did I date as an Amish person? Yes, I did date. I was actually supposed to get married before I left the community. Like I literally left in the nick of time. And let me tell you, whenever I put out my book, it might even be titled "I'm so happy I didn't marry my cousin." For the record, just side note.
So you found out since that it was your cousin,
Like 3 days
or
ago.
you know then you knew
3
then.
days ago. 3 days ago, Linda, I found out.
Oh, that's what you were messaging me about. She wanted the Fisher book. Do you know?
I need to know.
Oh.
I need to know because this doesn't make sense.
Wow.
Well, no, the cousin that might be a little close, but third cousin or fourth cousin.
Second cousin.
We didn't even marry second cousins in my culture.
Okay, so we were the one true Amish. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you know that right now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm being.
I mean, a lot of third and fourth marriage happens, like the third and fourth
Yes.
cousin.
But that's also why they have all those birth defects and their own like genetic disorders.
Genetic stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So this is a whole side note. I didn't mean to derail this conversation. I just had to give y'all the update on
Tell us that chite.
Ich hab's nicht gewusst.
Okay.
But I don't even remember what I was saying. We were talking about
See,
something.
just let the conversation roll. We
don't want to talk about this. No. Oh, did I date? Yes. Let me tell you about the dating in the Amish community versus dating on the outside of the Amish community.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I dated somebody that was from a community where we legitimately, the boy would go in the living room and sit on a big chair, and the girl would go in and sit in the lap of the boy.
Wait, what?
Tell us that chite. Like what the?
So whereas where I dated,
no
the rule
touching
for me was sit as far across the room as you can from him.
No touching.
I didn't even kiss him before we married.
Oh my word. I can't even imagine. I think I would have had a heart attack. You know, you weren't allowed to touch.
Mm-mm.
Oh no. Like so that was where in his community that was the rule. In my community that I left from, the rule is that we were supposed to, and I quote, supposed to, because I don't even want to start counting how many people got married because they had to.
That's bad. That's really bad.
But we were supposed to. You know, the best is
Do
always
people even know what that means?
When it's the bishop's child, it's always the best, right? That's the best. Oh, I didn't say that. Oops.
I bet. Do people know what we mean when they got married?
I was
Because they
gonna
had
say,
to.
I bet they don't even know what that means, Mary.
Oh my!
When that
What
you
that
had to get married.
When they had to get married, what that means is that the girl was pregnant.
There was a little one coming in the next 7 months.
That's right.
Well, wasn't it even if they had sex, they had to get married? Like
yes.
If you had sex,
well, if they knew,
and it got found out.
If they knew.
And so then, like, okay, so that's like we sat across the table from each other in a dark room, like with the oil lamp on, one oil lamp on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Same.
In the special room, we were supposed to sit across the table from each other, but I promise you that's not what happened according to all the people that had to get married. But I didn't say that. Anyways, so in the outside world, imagine going from that to like somebody being like, hey, you want to go to dinner and let's go watch a movie and let's go to this concert or like something like that, as opposed to that. Like that's like two completely different worlds. I don't even know how to describe that, what that would be mentally. Oh,
My first ever movie I went to, somebody took me to see Titanic
Oh,
when it came
that's
out. No, you don't
wow.
understand. I went and saw Titanic, and that's a long movie. And when
Oh,
we went to leave, I couldn't even hardly walk straight because it was like, all that. Yeah, that was the first movie I ever saw in the theater was Titanic.
oh
I
my
saw
so
boobs.
goodness.
did you go home and pray like a good person, Chris?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You confess to? Okay. Men det är inte hoppnum för det ser.
I didn't mean to see boobs.
Okay.
I
Um,
don't know if I did that the right direction. I don't know how. I know
I don't
Catholics
even
do.
know how to do it.
I know it's head, stomach, and one shoulder or the
I
other
have
shoulder.
no idea. Don't ask me. I don't pay too much attention to that.
Yeah. There's a comment there, Mary.
Yeah, it says lights on, hands off is what we were always told. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, did you
Yeah.
guys ever do an English date? Tell me about your English dates after being Amish and what it felt like.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What did it feel
Mhm.
like, Linda?
Well, for me, I would say it was long enough, like out of the Amish. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
well, let's see. I went roller skating and met BJ.
Oh,
Oh my.
I went to a roller skating ring and with my covering and my you know and I went roller
wait, you
skating.
were still dressed Mennonite
Oh yeah.
Hush to
on your
cut the whole cut.
first? So you didn't change your dress right away when you came out of the culture?
Oh no.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I
well,
didn't
I
realize that.
went. Well, no, see, BJ and I met when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So were you still kind of sort of Mennonite then?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
I was still going to Terry Hill Mennonite School,
Oh
Oh.
my goodness.
Hmm.
Huh.
and I went roller skating.
How did the bishop like that?
Oh
I'm
my
sure he
word!
probably found out,
Dating
English
dating
people.
somebody who was English,
Yes, yes.
Oh
For those who
Hmm.
don't know, it is forbidden to date somebody who is English. And if you date somebody who is English, you will probably get into a lot of trouble.
Well, she
well,
wasn't.
I was bad. I was really bad. I was 16 and was working at Shady Maple Smorgasbord, which all the tourists will know because everybody comes to Shady Maple Smorgasbord. And I made friends with a couple people at Shady Maple Smorgasbord and told my grandmother I was going to be spending the night at Becky's house from work. And I ended up having my first experience with a guy at his house right across from my Bible teacher's house. My Bible teacher lived right across the street.
He's a
Oh
bad
my
boy.
goodness.
Chris is a
Chris,
bad
you're
boy.
so naughty.
I was bad.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like that might have got you in a little trouble if they knew. Did they know?
No,
See, that's why you got away with it.
I got away with it.
You didn't take pictures, right?
Oh,
But
no,
that's
never.
not really progress, though. Let's talk about some progress now.
But, when, I still had my covering on. When I started dating BJ, people were like, well, why would you want to date a Mennonite?
You mean to
Really?
BJ or to
Yeah,
you?
to BJ.
Okay.
To BJ. Why would you want to date a Mennonite?
What'd BJ tell them?
I'm not sure. I just know, BJ's friends were a little like, I don't know what's going on here.
They were like taken aback by it.
Yeah. Well, there's the whole even it doesn't I don't feel it still happens that much, even though, the integration that has happened in Lancaster County between the cultures, it still doesn't happen that much that you'll have somebody, who's wearing a covering and everything go out and date the English.
Yeah.
At least not while they still have their covering on.
And I just want to point out that you really shouldn't be dating a currently Amish person if you're not Amish, because that can land them in a lot of trouble. And I'm sure that's the same with the Mennonites. Like, that can land them in a lot of trouble with the church.
Well, people have tried to join the Amish church to date, but it rarely works out because a lot of people don't understand how much it takes to actually join the Amish and the Mennonite church.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing is like, if you were not born in, there's the type of people. Why are we being serious?
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
finish that sentence. If
Okay.
you're not born into the community, there's people that literally look at you within the community because they have this caste system, and that's spelled CASTE, I believe. I know I don't pronounce it right, but anyways, it's that system within the community that kind of like one person, like the people that are really rich often tend to be allowed to do like whatever they want to and not really get in a lot of trouble. But then the other people that are really poor and the church has to help them with like food and housing and stuff like that, they can literally not sneeze without getting into trouble. And so the people that are joined in rather than born in, they tend to look down on them, and they
At
don't
least until
have
the
the
second generation.
right. They don't have the ability to marry well as first generation born in. And even amongst like, I've noticed this in like outside of the communities, like when you start talking to ex-plain people, there tends to be this bias towards people that were not born into the plain communities and just joined and then left, and they're like, oh, you don't really know what it's like. Well, here's the thing is, yes, they do, and they have a very important conversation to have. So there's my TED talk for the day. Thanks. What?
I think depending on what age you were brought in and left, you may have even a more unique perspective because you've known both sides even as a child.
Right. Right.
Right.
Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
Growing up everything was normal for me, and I didn't realize until what, a year ago at most now, that it's not normal to be put on nerve medication at age 7.
No, that's not normal.
Well, but I didn't realize. To me, it was normal. You know what I mean? There was
Right,
nothing
because it's
abnormal
normal.
about that. Yeah.
It's normal in the community, and it's also a
Wow.
thing of like, they don't tell you anything really except here's your pills you have to take. Like, you're supposed to take these pills for your NAFA.
Oh yeah, I can tell you a few stories about that from green pastures, but
But
I won't. We're
we're
not
sup-
here for that.
we're
No, but
supposed to talk about progress. How are we talking about progress and we're just
when did
talking
you
about
wear your
man?
first pair of pants?
The day I
Oh my
left.
goodness.
Day I left.
What?
February
It
16, 2004.
How about you, Chris?
Around 9 p.m. I was given a pair of pants and I put it on.
Oh wow.
How about you, Chris?
Um. Well, I went away to Florida for a week with somebody before I left.
Oh my God.
So, and so I wore some of hers, but after, I have to admit, I didn't wear shorts above my knee until recently.
Yeah, same. This is the first year I'm working in shorts. It took me a long time.
Um,
And I wore my first time wearing pants was 5 years ago. Kind of started with my job because I
Yeah, I
wasn't going
wear
to go
pants
work
to
at
work.
Turkey Hill with a skirt on. I mean,
I
imagine
have to
that.
wear pants at work because of our, I work manufacturing, so pants
Right.
are, I mean, and now I'm completely comfortable in pants,
well,
walking around and
I'm a
but shorts took a while.
I'm a professional, but I wore my first bathing suit approximately 2005. I actually have photos of that, and it was a two-piece, not a one-piece. I'm a rebel all the way. All the way. I think it's interesting to talk about how, like, we all have varying experiences, but we all got there in the same way. Like, just the shorts, I've never even, after the first, like, couple years, I've never had a problem ever.
Right.
Like, ever.
Oh my
It's like
word!
a
For the longest time,
non-issue.
it was just ingrained into me. You keep your knees covered.
Well, look, Chris, you can't have knee boobs, okay?
I don't know. My knees are pretty sexy. Yeah. Oh, but no. I mean, it was just having something that came above the knees was.
How about your covering? I'm curious to know about the covering. When did that come off?
Well, let's
or how
see.
did you even get rid of the mindset?
The covering came off and went to veils.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And then from veils, I actually went to like almost a hijab type style. So I actually got more strict.
Wow.
You know, that if the hair has to be covered, it has to all be covered, and you know.
So sort of like you had at the Amish abuse meeting, similar to that.
Yeah. And then I think 2019.
Wow.
2019, my grandfather died.
That's not even that long ago.
I mean, not 19, 2009. My grandfather died.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
what?
2009.
Wait. Something's not adding up.
Yeah, 2009, my grandfather died. And I said, fuck it all.
Right.
But then I still lived there and took care of grandma until she passed away in 2013.
Okay.
And then 2013 is when I got the letter from the church saying I was no longer.
Oh, they disassociated with you?
Yes. Yes.
Did they shun you? Or they just.
Nobody on my dad's side talks to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Darn. That's awful. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't talk to a lot of people on my mom's side that much as it was after I was 5, so.
Right.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
But so yeah, I actually for one point went a little more extreme.
Well, I did too,
you have
though.
to throw yourself all the way into the well of like, I must have my head covered completely before you could figure out that you didn't have to wear a head cover.
Well, I kind of went that way too, because I was like, wait, the Bible says to cover your head. So how do you know how much of your head to cover? You know? Sorry, but it's just like.
Well, and I have to say, I think what contributes to that is the charity.
Yeah, I agree.
Linda and I both touched charity on our way out.
So, y'all, I read the Bible through multiple times before I left the community. The Bible says, "A hair shall be your crowning glory." And so the day I walked out, I took my covering and I kind of threw it on the road at, I think it was the Armadillo's place. And I left it there.
I shaved my head.
Wait, what? After you took your covering off,
when I took my covering off, I shaved my head.
Wow, you're so. I don't even have words. You get from one extreme to the other.
What it was, you know, the scripture says, if a woman does not cover her head, let her also be shorn.
What?
And I was like, fuck it, I'll shave my head. I said, fuck it, I'll shave my head. You know what I mean? Let them come at me.
Right.
Let them come at me because, look, I don't have hair.
Right. You did it all the way right.
It was like, go ahead, come at me. There's no hair.
Oh my goodness.
And then I found out I really liked that having hair, you know.
Right. For me, it was just one day. I just it just didn't make sense anymore. Like, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm constantly washing this covering and putting it on. Like, it annoyed me to no end. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done.
Oh, and
And I
putting
was
your
done.
hair up
Were
wet
you?
under the covering and it never dries right.
Right,
Uh-huh.
right. I'm like,
Uh,
it's just, this doesn't make sense. And I don't really care what anybody says. And nobody ever approached me about it. And it was done.
that was it.
Yep.
That was the end. So here's a question: did you guys wear like the faggy pits to cut?
What's that?
Like, you know, so you know how like in some of the different communities they'll have like different covering styles. Like I know more than likely because of like the Lancaster Association, you probably were one of the ones that didn't. It probably didn't take you like an hour or 2 hours to like pleat it in the back, but like the
Oh, you
communities
had
that
to get your covering ready before
yeah,
you went?
yeah. How long did
No.
it? Like hours? So in 1, 2, 4 out of the 5 communities that I lived in, it took like 2 hours to pleat those coverings in the back
Oh,
because
What?
see,
they had
here
the ones
everybody
like
just went
have
to
you
Joyce Long and got their coverings made.
no, no. Everybody was supposed to make their own. But I really found it freeing to not have to make a covering,
Yeah, I'm sure. And
to not
also
have
spend all
to
that time. Yeah.
right? Like that was a big waste of time in my opinion.
Well, I know for me, it was huge for me because I had 3 little girls coming out of the Amish, right? So imagine Sunday morning church, I had to Saturday nights or sometime that week, I had to make sure that all their schatzlin, the aprons that the little girls wear,
Yep.
were ironed out. I had to make sure that all their coplin were ironed out. And then I had to comb and tuck their hair in all neat Sunday mornings and put their their coplin and their schatzlin on. And it was a big ordeal. And to not have to do that was a huge stress off.
I think we have now established why I no longer own an iron.
I think
Yes.
I still have my old one up in the attic.
I think listening to you talk has established why I no longer have an iron in my house. To the point that my oldest child did not know what an ironing board is called. They were like, we don't have. I said about not having an iron, and they go, well, we don't even have one of those ironing tables.
Oh,
Yes, because it's a table now. It's a
right.
table. But no, I think like just not having to do that with the I think another thing, a big difference is like I don't mind not having to put my hair up underneath the covering because that in and of itself is like really painful. It can be really painful, especially when you put those pins in your hair and like they kind of poke in your head and stuff like that.
Or if
And you
one of
have to
your
make
hairs
it,
was like pulling and you couldn't get that
yes,
one hair.
and you have to
Well,
make it tight enough so that it stays up and there's like all of this stuff and all of a sudden you just don't have to do that. Like that was
well,
really really freeing.
how about the straight pins in your clothes? I think about that sometimes. I was just used to being picked, like pick with a straight pin. Like why? I can't to this day I cannot understand why people would even do that. Why is that even a tradition
Because
where
I
you
don't know
use
about
pins?
well, because like so the dresses like they come down here, right? And they have this really high collar on them. And when you fold them over here and you pin them in here,
Right,
especially if you are a breast haver, like the pins poke directly into your
right,
breasts.
right.
And at least like for
There was
me,
nothing new. It was scratched.
I had a red mark, a constant red mark on whatever side the pins were poking my breast
Right,
continually, and there was no way to avoid that. And so I feel like that's almost like that's cruel. And yeah, it was so nice not to have that.
right.
I appreciate that.
Right.
I'll wear this. We'll be all right.
What are you laughing at, Chris?
I'll wear this.
It looked like you had a thought that went through your mind.
I just started thinking about ankles.
Oh,
Oh my. What? Tell me about ankles.
Well, about how you're not allowed to. I know a family member who was in church and got talked to because a man was able to, she was wearing short socks, but her dresses were like ankle length, which were a no-no in the first place, too.
Yeah, no, your dress was too
But
long.
so when she sat down, it would come up a little in the back, and she got talked to because somebody could see the top of her socks.
oh my goodness. That is just horrible. See, and that's the other thing I was thinking of just before we started about progress was my biggest progress is psychological. Just everything that goes on psychological. And then when you come out and you have, like, people think, oh, when we say we have freedom, they think we're talking about now we can go drive a car and now we can go. I don't even think about that
No.
like, yes, we're talking about those right now, but for me, like, progress for me is able to get rid of those mindsets that are
I
just
can go
horrible.
to church in flip-flops.
I can dress
Shorts,
how I please.
shorts,
I can
whatever
cut
you,
my
yep,
hair.
yep,
It's learning to, I think for me, like kind of like touching on that for me, like psychologically, learning
yeah,
that just because one of the most freeing things that I've ever experienced is having a relook at like the term forgiveness, as in like how I was taught forgiveness means, about how forgiveness means you never talk about it again. That person's sorry, they've confessed in front of the church, and you never bring it up, you never think about it, and if you do, then your sin is just as great, if not greater than that person's.
mm-hmm,
And so having a relook at that and psychologically being free from the expectation that forgiveness means that you are silent. Forgiveness
right,
means that you never talk about it again. Forgiveness means that that person is automatically sorry and they have true, genuine, what is the word for that? See,
repentance.
yes, that word. They have true,
Okay.
genuine repentance, but the fact of the matter is anybody can get down on their knees and say, I'm sorry and confess in front of the entire church. And now I look at forgiveness more as like it's a personal thing, and everybody has a choice of whether or not they can forgive or
when they are able to finally
even
let
if they
go.
want to,
Mm-hmm.
forgive. It's not a requirement. Forgiveness simply means that you don't hold ill will towards that person, rather than you will never speak of that again. Forgiveness does not mean silence. It doesn't mean you never talk about it again. It doesn't mean that it's as if that thing never happened.
Right,
Forgiveness rather just means that you hold no ill will towards that person, and that's it. And
right,
you get to decide.
right.
What
We
about
all get
seeing
to
your
decide.
kids get raised outside of this and the freedom that they have and how much joy that brings you? You know,
Yes.
your children getting to do, be themselves, and what I mean? It's just so so
Well, number
refreshing, so
one,
full of joy.
they it, they're allowed to have friends, they're allowed to go to school, they're allowed to have like, learn about like maybe proper English. Like they don't necessarily do plain speak like how we do. This is
Oh, they're
so bad.
always correcting me on my English.
Right. Like they
Always.
they learn. They learn so much on like
They're way ahead of me with education.
and then like it brings me a lot of joy, but I also feel like I can't relate to my child's childhood because I have no
Mm-hmm.
idea what it's like to grow up in a world where I'm allowed to have friends, where I'm allowed to say, no, I don't want to hug you or I don't want to shake your hand, where I would get to attend a school that is maybe a little bit more affirming and welcoming, especially for like neurodivergent people. I just don't know. I don't know these things because that's not even close to what we went through. And it brings me a lot of happiness just to be able to see that happen.
Amen. Amen.
Oh, hey. Were you also taught if you can't say anything good, don't say anything?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. And in addition to that, you must not speak ill of the dead.
Oh
Let me just
yeah.
tell you the
Oh yeah.
quote. I think it's like Anne Lamont that says this, but it's like a really good quote. And you know what it says? If people wanted me to speak better of them, then they should have treated me better. But
Yep.
yes, I don't think that it is wrong to talk about the culture. I don't think that it is wrong to expose and shine some light on the darkness that has plagued our communities and our cultures for so many generations, that it has given children and adults nowhere to go to seek any kind of recourse or assistance when
Right.
they are going through tremendous abuse. There is
Right.
nothing wrong with shining a light on that.
Yeah.
Well, and it
And
took me 2 years, only the last 2 years that I've started, speaking about stuff because it's so ingrained into you that if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
right. 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 Or you're supposed to forgive and forget. So don't bring up the old stuff.
Well,
But
and
I
you
have
don't
found
talk about that,
but I have found that it is tremendously freeing and actually breaks generational curse if you speak about something that was anything that is done to you and you publicly speak about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that
It
that
really
just
it
can
gives
be
you
so
that
like a
way.
freeing,
freeing feeling.
so
You know what
freeing.
I mean?
Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I talk about things and I actually voice like and am I able to sort out my feelings about some of the trauma that I've experienced, what happens is that I end up seeing it in a whole different light. I end up seeing it in a whole different light and it's like, oh my God, like it puts it in perspective of like this was an atrocious crime that happened.
Yep.
I did not ask for this. No child asked for this. No child should be
Mm-hmm.
exposed to this. And so
Mm-hmm.
that also goes with, like, for example, another thing that we were taught that I found really freeing is like when you get baptized into an Amish church. I don't know about y'all's, but in my Amish church, when I was baptized, one of the promises I had to make was um, I would never tell church business to anybody that wasn't a member of the church. And I always say we had a special brainwashing session when in.
Wow, I almost forgot about that.
Well,
Minchester.
yeah, and that you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
part of the church for the rest of your life.
So you
Yeah.
have to
You
like,
can't go tell the Obrigkeit. The Obrigkeit is the society, the
yes,
the
the
English people.
Yeah, and part of the baptism is promising to be part of the church for the rest of your life, being part of
yes,
that congregation for the rest of your life. Which when they shun you, then they would say they're not shunning you for they're shunning you for breaking your promise.
yep. And you brought
Because
this
you
upon
promised
yourself.
because you promised to be in the church in that church, for the rest of your life. So they are shunning you because you have broken your word.
And
And
I,
it's supposed to be like the marriage. They say it's like a marriage. It's you can't divorce. So you can never divorce in the Amish system. And so you can also never leave the church.
Right.
so we're all brides of Christ. Okay. Got
I don't know, that sounds pretty gay.
it. I'm just saying.
That
So
sounds
we're all
pretty
brides
gay
of
right
Christ.
there.
I'm just letting you know. Look, I did a DNA test like
You're so damn new.
0.3%. Huh? What?
You're
I'm
so
a
bad.
good person. No, I'm a good person. I am a good Amish person today. I have not led anybody astray in the last 24 hours that I know of.
You're not
Oh my
trying
goodness.
hard
But
enough.
I want to point out too is like just working through that and finding some kind of resolution for myself. And that was really freeing to understand that it is really, really messed up that your religion's trying to control you by and attempted to control you by, like, one, they elicit these promises from you, like you have to join the church. For me, it was easier to join the church than it was to actually fight that battle of, like, I'm unwilling to join the church. So I joined the church and I get baptized and all of that. Like, that was easier than what happens if you don't join the church when it's expected of you. Because when you get to be a certain age, it is absolutely expected of you to join the church. And if you
And you're
don't,
going to be harassed if you don't.
yes, if you don't, you get harassed, you get manipulated, you get bribes, you get all kinds of stuff. And so for me, learning to reframe that and look at that as what it was and see it for what it was, and then also the promises that they elected from me, it's like those promises were given under duress. Like, that was the easiest thing for me to do. And so
Well,
how
it's the
could
one to
they?
belong.
And then, well, I wanted to belong, and then they not only did they shun me, they cast me out and they harassed me again through the legal system until I legally changed my name and moved. And then I moved in a series of moves and all kinds of stuff to just get away from them harassing me. And so to me, reshaping that in my brain, as in seeing this is unacceptable, it is them trying to manipulate me and control me, and they shouldn't be doing that, because it is not love to shun your family member. It is not love to shun your neighbor. It is not love. That is not love. Thank you.
Nope. And
But reshaping that,
I hope
freeing.
one day they see that, because it is not love. It is not love at all.
Nope. It really isn't.
I don't care how many of them tell me that it's tough love. Nope. You guys have no idea what you're doing, or you
No,
wouldn't
they
be
don't.
doing it.
So I just want to go back to the Bible for a hot minute, because when you start looking at, like, what is love from the Bible, it has nothing to do with the shunning. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
love is patient, love is kind. You know where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, that's not love. So I'm just letting all you know, if you're Amish or Mennonite and you're watching this, think about that. Love
Yeah.
is not manipulation. Love is not conditional based on what you receive from me, or based on I must do X, Y, and Z in order to obtain any form of love or affection from you. That's not
Right.
love. That's called
Right.
That is not love.
manipulation.
Love is not telling a 12-year-old at their great grandmother's funeral that God loves them and Momo loves you very much, and Momo wants to see you, and Momo went to heaven, and you got to my child
Mm-mm.
to try and
Com-
how
Oh,
it is
wait. They
in the
were trying
community.
to manipulate your child?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
have them come back to the Mennonites by telling them that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, to my 12-year-old.
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible.
It's horrible.
And there again, there's that heaven and hell manipulation that goes on, and that is so awful. That is so awful.
So when you dissect that, how freeing is that? Once you reach a
It
space
is
where you
absolutely
understand,
freeing. It is
just, oh my gosh, it's indescribable.
I have no words for it. I have no words for it. And even that alone, I'm glad my children have no part of. No concept, no part.
Awesome. And on that note, I'm going to ask each of you for, like, parting thoughts, if you have any. You want to go first, Chris?
My parting thought is we have to put out into the world what we want to get from the world. And, I've learned that, especially in the past couple months, we've been putting out so much and building a community in our area of people, and the growth that can come from everything we've been through and putting out the kind of environment we want and helping build that environment, you know.
It's beautiful.
That is gorgeous.
It's
Thank you.
beautiful.
What about you, Linda?
I just want to say to anybody, like this can apply for all people, is if you're not able to shine where you're at, find a place where you can shine and grow, because you do not want to live like that. You do not want to keep living like that. That's not living. It's not life.
And I just thank you. I want to thank you very much, both of you. Thank you for coming. And then I also want to add to that is that, um, you know, if you're unhappy with your life, no matter where you are in the world, anybody that is listening to this, if you're unhappy in your life, you are the person that has the power to make change. You can change your life. And I believe in you, and you deserve to have a happy life. On that note, we're going to say good night. Thank you. Have a good one.